I've been playing Pokemon for many years. It's hard for me to understand the story because I can't read the story.
Yeah. I think that's
She has her
critical. I
fiance
mean,
help her.
clearly, accessibility for
I'm not her
people
fiance.
across
I'll
the
fill
entire
in for her
spectrum
fiance.
of different forms of
This weekend.
able-bodiedness is critical. Inclusion is where we're all headed, and I'm happy to see that we're having the conversation because it's high time.
Exactly, because I've been talking to Nintendo about creating that screen reader.
I mean, they would be smart too. There's
There's a whole underserved market there.
yeah, there's a whole
Yeah.
underserved market there.
And gamification and gaming is such an important part of how we create the next level in our world. So, and I think we need to include everybody in that creative process
And
because
also-
everybody's got a contribution to make.
Yeah, and letting the publishers know that that's what you want. Getting out there and voicing, you know, hey, we need this, and letting people know, and then I think that's going to help. Or make it yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Actually include voice acting in some of its games, that it just hadn't been for the longest time.
Yeah.
So many people.
Hi, so outside of your professional projects in voice acting, has there been any personal projects of yours that have really been your favorite to work on?
Passion projects.
Yeah.
That we created?
Or,
I'm very creative, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it.
Doing entertainment content?
yeah.
Well, I mean, I love working on my friend, like Yuri and Tara
Yeah.
have that web series.
Oh,
Shelf
yeah,
Life. It's
Shelf
been a couple
Life,
years
that's
ago,
so
but I
cute.
had a blast. Anybody's like internet project they have, for us, we can either work union or free for our friends.
Yeah.
And so we do that. We're like, although I have to say, David Hayter, Snake, he directed his first film, gosh, it's been 3 or 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
And Giant Momoa was in it, and Lucas Till, and I got to fly up to Toronto, and it wasn't a huge budget, but it was big enough for it to get done, and just the joy of flying to Toronto and doing night shoots was just with him, was just like one of my favorite things ever. The movie's called Wolves, it's great, check it out if you get a chance.
It's on DVD, Blu-ray,
Yeah,
easy
yeah,
fun.
it's really fun. But stuff like that, like working with our friends, it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I'll bring the beer, where are we, what are we doing?
I know it's a different world that we live in now that we can all kind of make our own content. So there's a lot more really cool content out there. There's also a lot more not so good content out there. But at least now we have all the capability, you know, not so long ago, if you couldn't afford to rent a 35mm camera and buy the film and pay an editor, you could make a movie. And nowadays, you know, get out your iPhone.
This is a great point that you just raised that I want to call everybody's attention to. It's a little bit off topic, but there's a concept, and we talked about this at dinner last night, in race car driving. When you are going around a track, there's just a couple tracks that have walls, and it runs a particular really hard curve. If you stare at the wall, and you're just learning how to do it, guess where you're going? Into the wall, right? So you want to not look at the wall that you don't want to go into, you want to watch the track. In our life and in our world, in a lot of places today, and in our own lives on an individual level, we're all staring at the wall. Stop staring at the wall. I want to hear you talking about what you do want and what you are creating. I don't want to hear any more about what you don't want. I mean, listen, take a second. Get very clear, like, I don't want that. All right, what do I want? I want 3 times more mental energy spent on what you do want than what you don't, because what you focus on grows, and that is your responsibility and mine. So.
Well, one of your fellow voice actors did exactly that with a documentary called I Know That Voice. Have you seen that?
Yeah, that's great. If you
Who's
guys
seen it?
haven't seen that, it's fantastic.
Right.
And it has a lot of people you know in it.
Yes, it does.
Let's see where we're
We're over
Here we go.
Hello again.
Hello again.
First of all, I want to thank you girls so much for bringing such beautiful, powerful women into our lives. I've had a lot of trouble with coming into contact with my emotions, and being able to relate to Liara has really helped out with that. And I think I'm now a little too emotional. And
No such thing as too
Never.
emotional at a comic convention.
It's beautiful.
and kind of helping with taking control of life with Commander Shepard. I would be very unsure of just a lot of things, and now it's like, who cares? Now I can do this whole cool thing. So thank you for that, both of you, and I'm sure all of us have many reasons why we thank you. My question was, if you could have any of the crewmates as canon, like you can't choose, just the one, who would it be? like to be a kind of love interest.
Don't make me pick.
If you had to pick just one slash,
I have it, Liara, of course.
I think that's your answer. We'd always pick each other.
Not Garrus? We all love Dark Angel, right?
Garrus.
But she's
All right. Thank you girls so much again. I love you both.
Thank you.
Hey Jane, hey Ali, thanks for coming. So I had two questions. The first one being, I know shouting is a really big part of being a voice actor and everything like that, but
favorite part, man.
yeah, like Tristan Novak, Bulletstorm.
Yeah, oh God. I was 8.5 months pregnant when I was recording that
No.
dialogue.
Yeah,
2 weeks before I delivered.
They're lucky you didn't put that kid on the floor.
I was flip-flopping around there like a fish. I was like, sorry, buddy. Because I always stand when I record, but that one, I didn't stand, but I didn't sit, but I was like this. I just like leaned.
You were in
so I was
everything
like this.
position. Just face that.
Okay, let's do this. But I climbed until I was 2 weeks pregnant. 2 weeks before I delivered too.
You're
So.
cool people.
Crazy. Other than giant, I have the best picture from underneath. It's the most unflattering, horrible, favorite picture of mine.
Well, the first question was, what was easily like the most stressful on your voice role you've ever had? And the second question is there like some kind of universal health plan for like all voice actors that they use or anything like that? Or you have to, or is that like upon you to take care of your voice and everything like that? And if so, what's your plan? Either of you.
Well, it's an interesting question. It's a very timely question because, as you know, as some of you know, there's a voice acting strike right now with respect to games, and there's only 4 things we were asking for: 2 safety and 2 monetary. And one of the safety issues we have is vocal stress, because we have colleagues who have been unable to work for months, and some of who have been permanently
I
changed.
worked performance. No TV, no film, no nothing, because my voice sounded like this.
Yeah, from a session. So it's definitely a hazard. There's no coverage for that. It's sort of a workman's comp that doesn't apply. I have a Lloyd's policy on this. If I'm injured and can't work, I've got 90 days and then it'll kick in. But I've been very fortunate because I started singing in clubs when I was 15 and I went and got the operatic singing training. I was a god-awful opera singer, but it was killer training, and it's helped me remain strong. I've only lost my voice on a job once. And that was doing EverQuest 2 because I did 15 different voices and I had to go into vocal places I usually don't go, and I just had to hash it out to get what needed to be done. But I have a lot of colleagues. I mean, you guys have all been out to like a party or something where you have to talk really loud the whole time. Do that for 4 hours and see how you do.
Yeah, that's why you wake up with no voice in this too. Yeah, for me it was Gears of War. It's Sophia. And the thing about doing games like that is I was the one female team member, and I think I was somewhere in this vicinity, which is really low for me. Now it's on me for auditioning with that voice. It's on me, but I didn't know what game it was. Again, that's another thing that we're hoping for in the strike, is to be able to know what we're auditioning for.
It's completely blind.
That's
You
one
know
of the
blind.
things we're asking for.
Yeah.
Transparency was another one because we don't know.
When I audition for television, or when we audition for television and film, we know what the film is, we know what the content is, we know what the character is, so we can make a decision ethically and personally on if we want to play the role or not. But that's the hard part. I'm so appreciative of my work in games, so appreciative that I was a part of the Gears of War, oh God, legend. But Sophia, when a man yells, he tends to go deeper, right? He's talking here, and then he yells down here. But when women yell, we tend to go higher. But in Gears, because I was a Gears guy, but I was a chick, they wanted me screaming in that really low place. And I was physically unable to do it. So after doing several sessions where I was only speaking, and then I was fine, I was able to place it in the right place, having been a singer as well. I was able to place it and get out of there with no problems. But once I started the yelling, as we all know, Gears has a little low. It killed me, and I did have to reduce my sessions from 4 hours to 2 hours. And honestly, even 1 hour of screaming that much takes its toll if you're in your wrong register. So on me for giving them a voice that I just didn't know though. I didn't know I was going to be screaming bloody murder in that voice. I thought I'd just be speaking.
It's a tricky
So,
setup.
it's tricky,
Unless
yeah.
you've done it, you, as someone hiring us, you don't really get. Like,
Yeah.
Oh.
You learn through experience for sure.
Sure, and then once they see it happen, most of them really do care. So that's one of the things we ask for is can we make those sessions
Yeah.
2 hours instead of 4?
And most of the gaming companies and most of the directors are really careful with us.
They're awesome.
You know, they don't have us do our yelling lines until the end of the session. So we've been talking for 4 hours or 3 hours, and we do our yelling lines at the end. And so then we get a break, hopefully, if we don't have a session right after that. And I would try to put my sessions on Fridays if I had to yell.
Kind of a funny story about that.
Did you have back to back?
I was doing, okay, is anybody here not played Diablo 3 to the end who's interested in playing in it? Okay, plug your ears. Because I was doing Diablo 3 and we were in the part where I was doing my Diablo stuff, which sounds like this. And the day before, or the morning of, I had been recording for Sophia the First with singing.
Oh
Just
no!
like,
We could be true sisters if I only talk like this.
And I'm in there going, I will kill you, I'll suck your soul. You know,
We could be true sisters.
it's going through my head.
Oh my god.
It's hilarious.
Oh.
Yeah. They thought it was in that order and not the
I was going to say it was in reverse order. Oh, geez,
Well,
it's hard to go
Diablo
from
stuff,
deep
it's
to-
a lot of air and it's a lot of
And
manipulation.
vibration.
And it's just this sort of a thing.
Yeah, instead of a
Yeah.
voice being put with, yeah. We could go on and on
Yeah,
and
there's a
on
whole
about this.
rabbit hole.
But great question. I hope that kind
Well,
of,
I'd like to follow up on that just a little bit. This strike is one of my most fervent political causes. It's a political thing that I think all of us can think is reasonable. People should be treated decently, reasonably, and fairly. Another part of it
you have to protect yourself.
A part of it, I've spoken to James Arnold Taylor about, various other folks over the last many months. This has been going for a little while, guys. Is the residual side of things.
You know, it's interesting. Back in '94, when the games were first, folded into the SAG contract, the people who folded in didn't know what was coming. And there were no residuals on games. I mean, I think I've probably been in a couple $1 billion worth of games.
Yeah.
And I got my session fee and that's it. And if I had done, like, one of the first games I was ever in, Metal Gear, Dave Hayter, the game made, I think, $276 million. And I think I made $1,200, and I was one of the lead female characters. And I was grateful for that $1,200 at the time, but as Dave later spoke with, I think, Galen heard about, and she's an enormous producer, like, if you were a film person and that happened, that would be life-changing. So it's because it was new. And because the technology wasn't there yet where we mattered that much. Now we do. But there's a larger picture going on, just real quick. Since 1987, there's this concept called net worth. Basically, it's what you're worth when everything you owe and everything you have, right? The net worth of the bottom 90% of the people in this country has not grown at all. Flat as a pancake if you look at it as a chart, right? Since 1987, that's 30 years. In that same time period, the net worth of the top 10% of this country has grown 300%. The net worth of the Forbes 400 wealthiest people has grown 1,000%. The money is out there. It's being funneled so that the haves have a lot more and the have-nots have less. What we're dealing with in the strike is part of what I call the larger war on the middle class. And they just don't want to share profits. You don't need those, it's a whole other conversation. So it's just part of the bigger picture. The good news is...
There are a lot of eager people who would love to do these sessions and that sort of
Well,
thing.
the thing is, if you come in and you undermine us and you work for less than...
Then I come for you at night.
You just shot yourself in the foot. Because way back when we first formed the Actors Union, it was formed because there were people out there grateful to be working for $5 a day. And you can't support your family on that. I'm not striking because I need this for my future. I'm a very careful financial planner, and I've always got my rabbit hole and my escape plan. I'm fighting for this because I don't see how people 10 years behind me are going to be able to afford a house or put their kids through school or have medical insurance. It's just not going to happen. And so that's why I'm fighting. The good news is, and my favorite thing is, we had a real amazing realization in this process through some wonderful production people who pointed it out to us that companies, the corporate 11, as I call them, we used to do, I think 40 games a year. Now they're doing about a quarter of that. So that's who we're struck against. In the meantime, there's this huge community of indies that have popped up doing anything from $250,000 game to, $3,000 games to $9 million, $10 million games, but they're indies. So we went out and started partying with the indie people. We're like, let's do this, let's talk. And we have signed 35 new games during the strike. We're partying down. A couple of huge companies, I will not name names, but they're awesome, have jumped on board with us. We're respecting their request for privacy, but this thing's kicking butt. So the more you guys express that we matter to you, the more we can stand for what we really need, and we can keep being here with you. So thank you.
A lot of us here, a lot of the work that these two and a lot of their co-workers and colleagues have done has been a big part of a lot of people's lives in very important moments. So thank you guys for getting all over social media and supporting this.
Yeah, CEOs don't always understand that we matter to you, and that you tell them makes the world a difference
Makes
for
a
us.
huge difference, thank you.
Yeah.
We have time for a couple more. We're going to go over here.
Okay, wow, that was great. So thank you for sharing that with us. I'm Dave, and I've got a cool segue that I'm really grateful for both of you being here, but I'm also really grateful that you've been pioneers for such strong female protagonists. In fiction and in literature, they just have not been held up to that standard. And I, as a writer and as an author, I want to be a part of that process of allowing women to be action stars and scientists and contribute to a literary movement that brings more equality and more excitement to character development. So you both have, just with Mass Effect, have contributed so much to my own life and my own development. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
My question is, outside of this strike, what's more that we can do to help support you ladies to continue to make these great characters, bring them to life for us?
Go for the things you enjoy. When you enjoy our work, make sure you let the companies know.
There's an indie
playing.
for like $5, buy the indie for $5, let's do it right.
There's some great indies out there. I mean, and first of all, thank you for what you just said. Thank you for being a
Thank you
writer,
so much.
because writers make the world go round.
It's nice to
Turns out there's a market for that.
Well, we're coming out of a very long cycle of the diminishment of women. I mean, it's a couple thousand years old. We'll get there. We're on our way. The fact that it's a part of conversation is like, all right, now you get us. Let's go.
It's nice to see it in games, though. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, thank
That was
you.
nice.
I mean, honestly, I didn't realize
And
that.
make us some more games. Come on, man.
My name is Dave. You can find me on Facebook.
Good promo, Dave. Good job.
But literally, I didn't realize, because I got so into Mass Effect, I enjoyed it so much, that I didn't realize where else you both had appeared throughout gaming and throughout cartoons and other forms of media. So really, thank you for that. You guys are such versatile actors, and I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be here and be able to ask you guys.
Are you on Twitter, Dave?
I am.
What's your
Find us
handle?
It's at Wisdom's Optional.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's ironic.
Speak to us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will. I'll follow you up.
Please,
Don't worry.
please do.
You're telling me we gotta wrap up. I'm gonna say this too, because those ears, I can't say no to those
Do you want to
ears.
do a bit of a speed through and try to get through?
You know what? If that is what you ask, I will
It's up
deliver.
to Jen. She's got a plane to catch, but if we try to do a speed.
I don't know if we can.
Let's try. Let's see
Let's
what we
try,
can-
let's
see what we
try.
can do.
Let's try.
You know what? I can always bolt and you can keep answering because, for a minute,
But
because I do have an airplane. I mean, I don't have an airplane.
That's what
If I had an airplane, I could leave when I wanted to. No, but I have to be in an airplane.
Go ahead, let's see.
Mass Effect is a game with many choices, and so seeing thousands of choices, what is the process of your lines regarding the choices every player picks?
How do they take you through those scripts? Big
Yeah,
trees of
well,
options.
Bioware developed a system where, to make a long story short, it's a screen that sits in front of us, and basically, when I was in the booth, most of the time after Jen would record, Jen's line would be highlighted. I would read that. I've got my microphone here. I've got my screen here. They'd highlight Jen's line, and I would hear her say her line. She would say something like,
I should go.
And then beneath that, I would see 5 or 6 different options. Yes, Commander. Please don't. But I've missed you. Don't forget to feed the fish. So then we would read all the lines after that. So if that answers your question, that's how we did it. It was really fun.
And there's another quick thing about games real quick. A script for games can literally be as thick as what she showed you or bigger. And doing a game, we record out of sequence. So you might as well take that script, cut it into strips, throw them up in the air, pick one up off the floor, and do it.
Yes.
And
So without a director,
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The lady with the magic ears.
Oh, magic ears.
I'm a little nervous. Hi, Jennifer. If I am not mistaken, and I hope the internet didn't lie to me, you did the voices of Illison and Vanity in Neopets the Darkest Fairy. Have I got that right?
you're relying on my memory, which is a really dangerous thing.
Was it on IMDb?
I said them for free.
Yeah, that's probably
I guess I
right,
did.
yes, yes, you did. I'm pretty sure you did.
Sure I did.
I wanted to know if there was anything you could share about working on that game specifically.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was my favorite video game growing
Oh,
up.
I'm so glad. When did it come out?
2005.
Oh, wow.
Well, back in 2005. Illison being a green fairy, Vanity
Yes.
being a crystal fairy.
Yes, I do remember. You know, as all, they all are, they're delightful experiences, and I tend to drop into the moment with them and the team, and I say this every time, incredibly creative, wonderful people. Yeah. Thank you.
Let's try to get through the rest of you that were up in mind. Oh, we got guys over here.
Hi.
Real fast, guys.
Do you have a technique that you use since you're reading the copy cold? Are you like try to read a few lines ahead as you're saying the line, or you just kind of hit the word in the moment, or how do you?
For me, there are no breaks. Like,
Yeah.
when they're talking about takes, I'm reading the next thing.
Yeah, constantly.
But I mean, when you're reading that line, are you kind of looking ahead so you can nail the read, or?
No, when I'm reading the line, I'm thinking about, I'm in my own pretend world. There's people in it, they're in places, I'm in a place that's not the place I am, it's this other place with other details, and I'm fully in that world.
Yeah.
If I'm reading ahead, I'm not present to the moment that I'm delivering to you when you play that game.
Yeah, and a lot of times, each line changes, like we talked about with whatever the response is, each line is a different response. So you have to kind of go back and
Yeah.
replay as if, it's like Groundhog Day, all of
It is. And reading ahead is important, but I can't
Yeah.
do it when I'm doing the acting of the moment, because I have to be in that moment. So that's part of why they're so demanding, like, you deliver a line and then you pause. No, there's no pausing. While you're paused, you're reading ahead to see what's
Yeah,
next and get
that's
all the
what you're
context you
reading
can so you can drop into that moment. Get context, drop, and it's that for 4 hours.
Yep. Good question.
Yeah.
Right over here.
Hey, thanks for having me today. I just have a quick question. I'll try my best to make it brief. I'm currently going for an AS in college right now, and as you know, as I'm sure you probably know, college is a really big period for discovery of oneself and personal change. And I'm really curious to know, back when you were in the same position that I am, what was the thing that fueled the passion for the love of what you do right now?
What's an AS?
Associated science.
Ah.
As he puts his glasses on.
I have a BS, but I literally do. So what fueled our passion?
Yes.
Freedom has always fueled mine. I've always quested for freedom and security, and like, I don't want a box, but I want to know that I'm safe.
That's a plus.
Yeah.